Blog Talk Radio.
From Winston-Salem, it's Sunday Night Dead.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Sunday Night Dead. Feeling a little bit rusty this evening as I've been away for a couple weeks, but it's great to be back here with you all. Thank you for closing your weekend out with us tonight. Got a great show lined up tonight. We're going to have John and Kimber Flores from the group Saints with us tonight, and I'm also going to talk a little bit about what I was doing 2 weeks ago tonight, which was out in the middle of the Ocala National Forest at Kerr City with George Lopez, the founder of Dead Air, as well as some members of my team and also my wife. So we'll get started soon here. Also with us, another guy I've really missed here was my tech assistant Vincent's with me today. So, hey man, I missed you. How's things going?
Welcome back, Matt. I missed you, man. Sounds like the orbs didn't miss you, though.
Yeah, the orbs aren't particularly happy to have me around, but hopefully 2 weeks with not having to hear my voice hopefully they're calmed down, and so we don't have any issues tonight. Also with me this evening, my co-host from Emerald Coast Paranormal Concepts, Mr. Tracy Todd. How you doing tonight?
Happy I am rolling, my friend. I'm glad to have you back.
Well, it's good to be back. I mean, I had a very nice anniversary vacation with my wife, leaving the kids behind for really the first time on a big vacation. So was down in your general area, down in Orlando. So had a really, really good time. And we had we're going to do a full show on it in the future because I didn't get through all the audio yet. I have a couple clips to play tonight, which will be a little strange, but we had some really, really strange things come up in the Kerr City investigation. Some really, really weird ones.
Well, I saw some of the pictures. There were some pretty awesome pics there.
Let's go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and tease up one of these here before we bring our guests on. So I have a couple I'll probably share tonight, all depending on how the show goes. But, we had a lot. We talked a lot last time when we did the show. We did a Kerr City show, I think it was almost the exact same time last year, because it was early November when I was of 2012 when I was down with George. And, there's a lot centered around this bedroom in one of the houses. And just for anyone who might not be familiar, this is basically a ghost town in Florida that now a family owns some buildings or houses on the property. And one of the houses just had some very strange activity in it. And George has been there multiple times. Has said that he originally the feel in the house was that it was just the owner didn't like people in his house, basically, and it was kind of just a protector, kind of crabby owner. And then towards the end, or I'd say maybe in the last 18 months or so, they said the feel in that whole house had changed, had gotten much more negative feeling to it. People have seen very weird faces in the hallway. There's just some odd things. And so we had a lot of strange stuff a year ago when I was there. And basically it seemed to center around this closet. And then particularly if someone was standing in the closet and someone else was sitting on a bed looking out a window kind of in a straight line, and there's a mirror off to the right, that seemed to generate activity. People would see things in the mirror. The person sitting on the bed, which I was one of the people doing that, would feel weird things. I felt basically like cold flesh on the back of my neck, almost like if somebody laid like a fish on it. Had feelings of almost like claws on my shoulders. Very, very strange stuff. And seeing Todd's thing that I can't reply yet in the chat room. Yeah, that's funny. George saw some very strange-looking things in there as well. Well, one of the times they had me in the very beginning, George wanted me to go in there, and they closed me in there just to see what would, I guess, just kind of like a demo. I honestly don't remember right now what the premise of it was at first. But so I went in there, and the best way I can describe it is the sound that Predator makes, if you remember that movie, that kind of clicking noise. I heard that at the back of the closet, and I thought, well, maybe it's an animal, maybe it's and then all of a sudden that same clicking noise got right in front of my face, maybe about 2 inches from my face, and that was enough for me. I kind of bailed out of there. But I'll just, as kind of a teaser here, play one. So we did a lot of work. We did some spirit box work in the closet. I wasn't able to go through all of it yet, but one thing that was interesting was there was 4 of us in the room at the time, and George was asking basically for the different people's names to come through. And they hadn't gotten to my name yet, and they're actually, George is asking for somebody else to put a name through, and this is what happened. It's pretty interesting.
Liz Taylor.
So we were doing a roll call. I wasn't up yet, and this lady's voice comes through saying, "Hi, Matt." As it turns out, the lady's voice came through a couple times. Interestingly enough, actually, I'll just go ahead and drive into this. A little bit later, this name kept coming through. And so George asked, basically, the person that keeps wanting to talk to Matt, are you friend, family, or foe? Say, Matt's name and friend, family, or foe. And we got an interesting result there, as well as when I was playing some of this for my friends, they said they were hearing this female voice constantly, like, imitating or mocking what I was saying while we were doing the Spirit Box session. I haven't got a chance to go through it all yet, but here's a little more of this. So,
person trying to reach Matt, are you family, friend, or foe? Person trying to communicate with Matt, are you family, friend, or foe? To Matthew Slozer. Say Matt and that answer. All right. Listening now.
So I'm not sure, Tracy, if you could hear that or not with the all the background in there, but the foe came through almost right away. Could you hear
I
it?
could hear it. Yeah, I could definitely hear it.
And I'm also just wrap these all up here because this is pretty creepy. And then to top it off, again, we always talk about that getting something like this across on a Spirit Box or an EVP doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could be somebody trying to mess with you. But still, these aren't the kind of things that are really encouraging when you get these things on a Spirit Box or an EVP. So here we go with this last one. This should be pretty clear, too. In case you didn't hear it, I'll play it again. It's a very low voice near the end. We had a request to turn the volume up a little bit. I will do that real quick. And the odd thing is there's been a lot of other weird things that we'll get into when we do the show on this, but so that makes this a little creepier than I would say just something trying to mess with us, but here we go. So we had, and George, they'll have him on when we do the show to talk about it as well. But he, as well as I believe others, had seen basically what we believe to be imps. If you kind of, best way to describe it is kind of, if you remember the Gremlins movie, kind of like the Gremlins things with a tail, and that would actually kind of fit in with kind of what I felt when I was sitting on the bed with the claws on the shoulder and things that way. So very, very strange. So we will get into that in a future show, but some pretty wild things in a pretty wild location. So everyone be sure to turn in when we get into the details on that. But without any further delay, let's bring in our guests this evening from the group Saints, John and Kimber Flores. How are you this evening?
How are you doing?
Doing great.
That was some pretty crazy audio.
Yeah, it's that is a freaky place.
Where was that at again? In Florida?
Yeah, it's in the middle of the Ocala National Forest. So not only is it kind of a creepy place, but you are literally out in the middle of nowhere. I mean,
oh wow.
It's not much around. I mean, we saw kind of shooting stars or meteors, whatever you want to call them, multiple times because the sky, you just see so many more stars. It's
right.
It's actually a very, very beautiful place, but
just don't run a voice.
Definitely not here. And I'll have to put on the I've had it on my personal page. I'll have to get it up on my on the Sunday Night Dead page for people to check out. But I got an odd.
Yeah, absolutely.
The first time I was there, I got a picture. There's another building on the property where there was a murder that happened, and I got a picture of what I believe looks like, at least is in the shape of a woman, possibly a headless woman, And the odd thing about it was I was taking, a lot of the times I will take the pictures without any flash so that you're not worrying about, different glares or reflections that way, as well as kind of going on that theory that possibly the light from the flash is going to make it harder to see them anyway. So I got this weird image that time. And then this last time I was just taking pictures, and I took a picture of one of the bedrooms, and it looks to me like you can see pretty well two legs, and then what could possibly be a body on the bed as well. So it is definitely a very, very wild place. We'll do a deeper dive on that. We'll do a deeper dive on that in the future. But I wanted to share those because it was a pretty wild experience 2 weeks ago. So I guess just to kind of kick it off the way that we always do here, just if you can tell us a little bit about yourselves, how you got involved in the field, and how you got how you started with your team.
Okay, remind me of experiences, because I was going to add on to that, but go ahead, John. You can.
Yeah, I mean, we both have. Oh, by the way, our other investigator, Mark, may be calling in a little bit later.
Oh, awesome.
He couldn't join us here in person, but he said we gave him the number, so he might be calling in if he, depending on how his personal stuff goes.
Okay, sounds
but
good.
As far as each individually, as long as we've been doing this, we've come across the fact that there are people in the field that some people try to choose to be in this, and then there are people who this chooses. Here, let me read you our mission statement here, or Kimberly's going to read you our mission statement here real quick.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
This pretty much sums it up. Because I'm in the process of redoing our entire website and just updating it and, getting it into this country. And I sat down and I rewrote our mission statement just based on everything that we've learned so far and the experiences we've had, how that made us, I guess, grow, It says mission statement, just the definition. It says research, investigate, consult, utilize the knowledge we've obtained, and keep expanding on that knowledge through any means possible to assist those in need in this world and the one we believe follows. The easiest way to sum it up when referring to St. Lost Souls as a whole, most would not classify this field of interest in any category containing the word normal. It takes dedication, commitment, compassion, and an open mind that only knows how to think outside the box. As individuals, our mission statement would probably be much different and more personal. It surpasses the explanation of events that occurred in childhood and that childhood fear of the basement. The dedication, commitment, and compassion required must come from the soul. It involves sacrifice that cannot be comprehended at times, but you accept those sacrifices and losses and keep moving forward, always looking for that better answer. It becomes a mission in life. Anyone involved with the paranormal for the right reason did not choose to walk this path. They were chosen, and we were chosen, and God brought us into each other's lives.
Wow, awesome.
So in essence, that kind of covers the whole, personal, we personally both believe, or all three of us personally believe, that we've had, I don't want to say attachments, but we've had, what's the word I'm looking for? We've had encounters.
Negative.
Is
that where you're going?
No, well, no, not necessarily negative. But we've had encounters with the paranormal for the majority of our lives, and it just doesn't seem like it would have been, it was only a matter of time before we found ourselves researching what we do and coming together as a group. It just so happened that Kimberly and I were, what brought us together was love.
We had a paranormal wedding.
Yeah. But, what brought us together was our relationship at first, which led into our expansion of the knowledge of the paranormal field. And that's where the founding of SAINT, or Sudden Apparition Investigative Night Team, which is the non-acronym version, began, was with Kimberly and I. We had two original We had 2 other original members who, unfortunately, due to life's happenings, things change. They weren't able to dedicate the same amount of time. So, unfortunately, they, had to part ways, not as friends, but just as researchers.
And I think it, for me anyway, it really grew and went places on a personal level that I never thought it would, And I know I kind of flew that mission statement. It was a little lengthy now, but I don't even know what I'm actually reading it. But we have our reasons as a group, as a whole, and I think we each have just really personal, individual reasons. I do, and it just like John said, we didn't even talk about doing this. It just kind of happened, and it really escalated for us.
Right.
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no. I was just, and then, as time went on, we began to, accumulate, we began to put together an arsenal, if you will. Not really an arsenal. Small arsenal.
That's pretty much it.
A few cameras, a few voice recorders, and it just, our techniques came along, those things that you learn as you further yourself in the field. Your perception grows, naturally.
And I think that's the key right there. All 3 of us just, it's a continuous learning process. It just can't ever stop, and all 3 of us put a lot of dedication into that. And just being open to other techniques or what have you. We just came back from South Pittsburgh Hospital in Tennessee probably a month or 2 ago, and the owner there was just phenomenal. We would take a break and end up talking to him for 3 hours. He was just and he gave us a lot of good techniques to try that actually work. If somebody's, because our main focus is audio. So he gave us a lot of good tips for that, and it's really working out well for us.
Oh, awesome. I want to go back to the. Let's go there first. The South Pittsburgh, I've been there a number of times. Love that place. We've actually did a live show from there, doing some of the same spirit box work that we were talking about earlier with George. But just kind of curious for particularly those who haven't been in the location, or even those who have, just kind of give us a general overview of your experiences there and kind of what you took away from the place as far as maybe active spots or experiences you had within the building.
Absolutely took away a lot of knowledge from the place. It is an experience, first of all, spending the night there. We got there in the afternoon, and, well, how the windows are, everything's pretty much blacked out. That alone is disorienting. You kind of lose all concept of time because we were exhausted. We had a 13-hour drive. And so we went to sleep for a couple hours, and you just kind of get up, investigate for a couple hours. That's real disorienting. But we had a really good experience in the medical records room, and also up on the 3rd floor. That was probably the best.
I personally, an hour into getting into this place, you just realize you're in for a pretty good rodeo.
Yeah.
Let me explain on that. I was, they have a special, we're smokers, we don't smoke on investigations usually, but they had a special room for smokers. So we decided to take advantage of it. Well, it turned out that we had left our lighter in our guest quarters, and I traveled the, what would you say to the entrances? Is it a 3 or 4 minute walk, Matt, from the entrance to the guest quarters?
Yeah, I would say about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing about three different turns. So you're kind of 3 different hallways of varying lengths.
Right.
Right. Exactly. All of which are just completely black. Except for, I take that back. There was one light on after you got through the main corridor, through the main entranceway. There was one light on.
We just got there.
Yeah, that because there was another team there that was investigating with us, and they were setting up in that room. And so there was one light on, and it made just enough ambient light that you can kind of see movement out of the corner of your eye everywhere you look, you know. So needless to say, you know, I'm only human. I was almost peeing my pants as I walked through these dark hallways, all alone. You know, I'm not a brave individual. I don't claim to be. You know, I'm a little yellow. I'm willing to admit it. I do have an issue with going out by myself, but I said, you know, this won't be an issue. I take I go down a long hallway, take a right, start to go down another hallway, take a look back, just naturally, and just, you know, you just have a tendency in the dark to look behind you. I looked behind me and saw a probably about 6'1" tall man, very slender, kind of like he was standing in front of a spotlight, just a silhouette, walking from left to right down the hallway. And in that split second, I didn't really process yet what it was. I turned around to go straight down this hallway, whipped around. This is all on the DVR system. You see me whip around like I had just seen a ghost. And I don't think I took my eyes off that spot for the rest of the hallway. I walked backwards the rest of it. Unfortunately, the camera system didn't pick up what I had seen, but you definitely see my natural reaction to what I had seen. You know, anyone that's been in this field for any length amount of time will tell you that, you know, we don't know why some pieces of equipment pick up things and others don't. You know, you can have two voice recorders running in the same area. One will pick up the EVP, the other one won't. One camera will catch something, the other one won't. You know, so I can't tell you why I saw that, but the camera didn't catch it. But when you see my reaction, there's really, I mean, there's not, it's a very, very, because it is a natural reaction that I had just seen someone walking down this hall behind me. And that was probably my biggest experience personally there.
It's very easy to let your guard down there, and that's when they're going to get you, you know. And I think that's what happened is he thought he was just running back for the lighter, and, you know, your guard wasn't, I guess, as high as when you're actually, like, investigating.
That's a perfect setup for this. I'll quick share it for you guys. And same general area, you know, outside of kind of where the cardiac lab is and things in that long hallway. We're getting ready to go to lunch. So, again, kind of our guard is down, and I'm walking down the hallway. I'm walking down the hallway, and all of a sudden you hear the sounds of something running after me, and it caught me off guard. You'll be able to pick it up here. So here we go.
I see.
Picking up the recorder. What the hell was that?
That's crazy.
So yeah, we were just getting ready to kind of pack up. We were going to go to lunch for a little bit, and I went down to the recorder I got was in, I think they were calling it kind of the autopsy area, where they had kind of tools and things in there. So it was still kind of in that main intersection. And so I grabbed that and started walking back, and my whole other team's on the other side, you know, still in that hallway with the other side. And from behind us, you just hear this, it almost sounded like somebody in heels running. It was a very high, like, clicking, you know. But, I mean, it came up right up behind me. I mean, really, really close to me.
That's what happened to Mark and I. Actually, that's one of the clips that we sent you at the Cleveland Agora, but we were about 80 or 90 feet in the air on a catwalk. And my reaction is pretty funny. Actually, the static you hear on there is me pushing him, and I had the voice recorder in my hand because the one side of it was completely open. You know, any of us could have easily fit through there. There was only a railing on one side. And when I heard that, because we actually left the area we were in because of how we were feeling. And he saw shadows behind me, and my first thought when I heard that is, you know, I totally believe they can get physical with you, and I just didn't feel like, you know, going 90 feet down onto the stage. But that was pretty funny. And the same thing, I mean, we purposely stopped, and you could hear them coming after us, and they're not happy. And then when you hear us get to the end, and by the way, Mark was probably about 20 feet in front of me by that point, so it was everybody out for themselves, I guess, you could hear them walking away.
Well, let's go ahead and put that one up here. Just give me a chance here. We'll keep talking until I find it.
Okay.
But along the same lines, have either of you had any? I guess I should rephrase this. What was the most dramatic kind of physical contact you've ever had?
Physical contact?
Yes.
That would have been in my mom's home. And it's very active. John will actually, if he gets a chance later, tell you the story, which we're going to get the videos at least on our Facebook page. And I was in this one little room that sometimes you hear unfamiliar things in there and stuff. And as I went to turn, have you ever put your tongue on a 9-volt battery?
Yes.
Yeah, you have, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
That is exactly.
Not one of those smart things I would like to admit, but yeah, I have.
Exactly. But that is exactly what it felt like right in my side. I mean, it actually pushed me into the dresser. It was absolutely crazy. And my reaction was I turned around, and I don't know if it's comfort in my own home or what, and I said, you know what, you just crossed the bleep line right there. We are not going to have that stuff here at all. But that really caught me off guard. And it was one of these, it was just so unnatural, it wasn't even funny. It was just crazy.
Wow. How about you, John?
Honestly, I mean, outside the realm of general, you know what? I just thought about it. Okay. Physical contact, I don't get a lot of, like a general brush, like maybe, like someone, you feel something on top of your head, your hair getting touched or something. Physical interaction, on the other hand, with your physical body, that's, I had a pretty predominant situation down in Bobby Mackey's when we went down with Dominic and Patrick from the NPA. Sorry about that. We were actually in what was Johanna's dressing room. We were there to give her some flowers and tell her that we actually didn't want to communicate with her that night because we believe that, if I believe after being there, I believe she was there. Believing that she was there, everyone who goes in there is always constantly asking her, what happened? Why'd you do it? Everyone's always bombarding her with questions, and the kind of soul we believe she is for the heartache that she went through to do what she did. If those who aren't familiar with Johanna's story, she committed suicide after her was murdered.
By her father.
By her father. That's the way the story goes. So knowing, knowing what she was going through when she passed, we didn't want to be just another group that came in and just do the same thing that everyone else does and just bombard her with these questions and all this, and we just wanted to give her a little bit of respect and say, you know what, we're not going to be like everyone else, and we just want to give you these flowers, wish you the best. And it ended up being, the tour guide, Wanda, was, she's a little bit more familiar with the spirits there. She was interacting with Johanna a little bit, which, we were perfectly fine with. But when I say physical interaction is this, I
channeled.
I personally firmly believe that I was channeled by Johanna. We have video of this. It's a complete change of physical, emotional.
Oh, yeah.
I had this feeling, Matt, of just pure elation, bliss, whatever you want to call it. I just felt so at ease. And
with relevant audio, too. You know, when John says something or something, I know in one part I got a very clear thank you. That's a woman. After we got to explain what we were going to do, you know, we just wanted to give these to you, or, you know, give you a break, and just have you enjoy them. And there's a very clear thank you after it. We're still behind on the evidence now because we're in the process of moving. But that was definitely an experience down there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and I can't give you all the details of what I did, what I said, because I don't remember it all. I know I heard very vividly in my head someone saying thank you, and I was told I said that she said thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, you know, when I finally had to say, you know, when Wanda told me that I had to let go,
had to disconnect, right?
I had
because
to.
He was just so. I mean, it just wasn't him. And Wanda looked at him, and she's like, "Okay, John, you know that's great, but you need to tell her to disconnect now."
I was almost unable to physically just tell her you have to let go now. And when they took me out of this place, I was stumbling around like I was drunk, and I've been sober for 7 years. You know, I mean, I couldn't feel my legs. You know, it was just as far as anything physical goes, I count that as a physical interaction because I did not have complete control of my physical body, and that was probably the most profound experience I've ever had.
Oh wow, yeah, that's definitely ranks up there. I did want to get to, since you were mentioning it, Kimber, the footsteps clip on the catwalk. Could you just set this up really quick as to kind of what was going on and even about this location? I'm not familiar with the location you referenced here.
It's called the Cleveland Agora, and it's an old theater. And they had just actually moved locations because there was a fire there, but they had a lot of the original materials in this new place. And we kind of split off, and Mark and I went across this catwalk, which like I said, was about 80, 90 feet in the air, and it's about how far across?
Probably a maximum of 4 feet.
No, I mean like across from
from end to end?
Yeah.
Oh, probably 25 feet long. Maybe 30, yeah, somewhere around there.
And on the other end, I don't know if they were storage rooms, but there was rumor of a murder. I couldn't find anything, you know, while I was researching. But we walked over there, and like I said, we weren't there long. We just didn't like the way we were feeling there, and I've learned to just go on my gut feeling. And we went to leave, and Mark went in front of me because I had the flashlight, and I had the recorder, he had the camera. And about halfway through, it was a steel catwalk. We just hear these pounding footsteps coming up behind us. And the feeling we had over there was just we were not welcome there. They were, you know, just anger and rage, and yep, that's what happened.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and play it. I'm just going to play it regular volume here, and then what I may have to do, kind of scouting through this ahead of time, I may need to get some further clarification from you for the audience as to which are the footsteps here. But I will say ahead of time for everyone listening, you will hear, and I can definitely pick it up in your voice, Kimber, that you are not comfortable with what's going on in the beginning of this clip.
Stop. When you hear Mark say "whoa" or something like that, neither of us were walking. We were stopped right in the middle.
The footsteps at the end are all the footsteps that you can't figure out who was making them, right?
Right. When Mark says "whoa," that's when we both stopped. We were about halfway through, and then when I finally make it across, because he just bailed, and I would have done the same thing. I know he wouldn't have done that intentionally. You know, it was a little intense, especially considering the way we were feeling. And you hear kind of this thump at the end, and that's me stepping up. Mark is already there, and you could hear the footsteps walking away.
All right,
It'll
here we
make
go.
more sense to hear it.
Yep, here we go.
Keep walking. Keep walking. I don't want to get stuck in the middle of this thing. You know what I mean? Mark? Is there somebody walking behind us?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want to get stuck on it.
So I got to add here, so those echoing ones at the end, were those the kind of unknown footsteps, or were those, oh, that wasn't you guys?
Right.
Okay.
And the last thing I say when I tell him again, I just don't want to get stuck up here, you know what I mean, or something like that, there's kind of a thump, and that's me stepping up, because you got to step up.
On the concrete.
And I had boots on. And the ones you hear after that those are not us. We're standing still, like with our jaws on the ground.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead, just with that clarification, we're going to go ahead and play this again real quick. So here we go.
Keep walking. Keep walking. I don't want to get stuck in the middle of this thing. You know what I mean? Mark? Is there somebody walking behind us?
Yeah.
Okay. I just don't want to get stuck on it.
I would say it's, obviously easier to make out when you get to know, when you get to hear over hours, which is, one of the things I always kind of point out when, people weigh in on a 20-second clip and not knowing all the other background noises or the things along with
right,
it. So
right.
I am making a stretch here, not knowing the other sounds, but it does sound to me, you're picking up those echoes, and it does sound like it is going away from wherever the recorder is. I'm assuming it's actually on one of you. One of you are either carrying it or on the bag. So I would say that's what it sounds like to me. That echoing and the sound is going farther away from you. So
right.
Definitely
and they don't
interesting.
sound angry either as when they were coming at us. Like they got us across there. That's what they wanted, and
Yeah. Well, much like
great.
I always say, Luana, who's on one of our co-hosts here on Sunday Night Dead, I always give her props for sleeping in a mine with rats and stuff that kind of ran over her and things. I got to give you guys props because ghosts or not, there's no way in hell I'm going up 80, 90 feet up in the air somewhere where there's an open end on one side.
Yeah, it was a little unsettling. It really was. It was kind of hard. I don't know how it came over on anybody else's because our speaker isn't the best, but it was really hard for me to hear the ones going away over here. But it will be absolutely be on our website.
And I always add, particularly if someone's hearing this on the kind of the podcast afterwards, it is always easier. Headphones.
Right.
Headphones are the best. Computer would be next. Anyone like myself right now, I'm on a phone. Phones are the worst for being able to kind of pick these things up. So.
Absolutely. Headphones are going to get the best.
Yeah. But yeah, your normal typical step ladder is about the extent of my the height that I'm willing to go. So.
Right.
I don't do. Well, it's not so much heights as climbing. I don't like climbing up anywhere where.
If you ever come here, you won't be joining us to clear the course.
Yeah, I would not be going up on that catwalk. But that being said, I have talked. Oh, go ahead, sir.
Oh no, I mean I just need to add in here that before and after this investigation, that same catwalk I was sent up on alone.
Yeah.
Okay, unknowingly that all this negative stuff was going on up there. Before the investigation, I can kind of understand, but afterwards, no one cared to tell me that. Oh yeah, we got chased across a catwalk 90 feet in the air, and here I am in the pitch dark with a little flashlight, walking across this catwalk, as other people are just attacked.
Actually, on our Saint Selections page, There is video from that room we were in. We actually got a full-body apparition twice within like 3 minutes. It's crazy.
That's saintsforlostsouls.com.
Yeah.
Saints Selections.
Awesome. Well, I have gone really long here talking and have not brought in my co-host, so I apologize for that, Mr. Tracy. But Tracy Todd, John and Kimber, I want to introduce you all. And,
Hi, Tracy.
What are you wacky teenagers doing this evening?
We're sitting in a hotel room.
Yes.
Oh, that's so good.
That is what it is.
We're in the process of moving, so.
Hey, listen, Kimberly, you said earlier that, was it your mother's house or your grandmother's house that had activity in it?
Oh, that was my mother's house.
Your mother's house?
Yeah,
So
John and I. Well, that's where we left from, and we were living there for like 2 years, and it's just crazy.
Well, my main question for you guys was, a lot of us investigators had some type of experiences as children, which led up to what we are today. How about you guys?
Absolutely. Doing this now made, believe it or not, put just a lot of years into perspective. More with feelings. Just picking up on other people's feelings, whether they're here or not, explained a lot of things that went on when I was growing up. I was always just told, oh my God, you're too sensitive, what is the matter with you, this and that. And it caused a lot of problems, but now it all makes sense.
What about you, John?
Well, growing up, I was, like Kimberly said, I now know why I was afraid of my childhood basement. Growing up, where for some odd reason it just seems kind of natural for kids to be afraid of their basement, and we never really know why. Now knowing what I know, I feel as though there was something, not bad, but something that needed energy in that basement, and they thought the best way to get it from me, my sister, was to make us fearful, to feed off our fear. And I got a little bit of confirmation of that when my sister told me over a family dinner maybe a year ago that she saw a 4-foot-tall black mass with yellow glowing eyes in our parents' bedroom. And it all kind of made sense, and it wasn't too long after I had started, after we had left that house, I started out on my own a little bit. I saw a picture of what I firmly believe was a demon. A very spiritual individual showed me that picture, and it to this day I can still picture every detail about it. It was I'm not sure how much anyone here weighs on mists and pictures, but there was no natural explanation for this mist, and it was terrifying. Just the face, the horns, claws embracing another woman who was in the picture. She had no idea. She was smiling in the picture, and there was this mist around her that just looked so terrifying, so malevolent, that it changed me a little bit as a person. I grew a lot stronger in my faith because it opened my eyes to the things that were out there that did want to do me harm. And then when, like I said before, when I met Kimberly and we started down this road that we were chosen for as researchers, it all came together. All came together. Now I'm talking too much. Go ahead.
No, you're not. That's fine. So, hold on a minute. So do you guys do, compared to your historical locations, do you guys do residential investigations at all?
Oh, yeah. Actually, the other two EVPs that we sent in were from a private residence. We'll refer to it as a non-disclosed location because privacy is number one.
Right.
Sorry, but yes, we try to we try to gear more towards the private residences because it's those people who are afraid to be in their homes and businesses that this field really affects the most. Historical locations, I don't want to say, they're there for learning, for experience, but it's those private residences that we do that we believe make the biggest difference.
Right.
Yes, we try to help people as much as we can.
Right. All right, well, I appreciate you talking to me, guys.
Of course, Tracy. Of course. We, anytime, man.
Batman?
I am the Batman.
You're going to have to explain that one now.
There will be no explaining of anything.
See, there's a controversy there because, and this actually ties back to South Pittsburgh Hospital, and I'll have to put this video up again, but we ran a scenario, my team, in the spring, where one of my team members, who I believe is actually in the chat room tonight, Melissa, bought a doll and had that in the nursery section, which, again, I'm just going to add, I have some more questions for both of you about this as well. Third floor of South Pittsburgh Hospital still remains the number one area that I'm the least comfortable in out of everywhere I've gone. That is probably the last place I would want to hang out by myself.
Where is it at?
So, the third floor of South Pittsburgh.
Oh, yeah, agreed.
There's some, I mean, it's creepy in general, and then there's something up there that does not like me. So I've had some interesting experiences up there. But we ran this scenario where Melissa had the baby in the nursery, and what we also did is, and to be honest, I'm so far behind on audio, I haven't gone through all this yet. We also had a spirit box running in a different part of the third floor where they could still, but within eyesight of what we were doing, just to see if we'd pick up any relevant interaction on that as well. Basically what happened was I was hiding in the hallway. She put down the baby to go get formula, and I came in and snatched the baby and kind of ran out of the third floor. Was going down to the second floor. I had one of my team members was security at the outside the door, and he didn't know I was going to do this. But I come out the door. He's like, "Hold it, sir. Hold it, sir." And wants to get the baby, and I'm like, so I just turned to him and I'm like, "But I'm Batman." Like, well, Batman, please identification. You don't understand. I'm Batman. And so at the end, there's some way we had to tie this. Up. So I hand it back to Melissa.
I like it.
And then I'm like, good citizens. Wherever there's evil, Batman will be there. And I run down the hallway, the creepy hallway.
That is great.
But part of this too is we haven't gone through all the audio. One, we had to give it to a certain end. Two, my team member William, it was great to see the look on his face when I said it. And but third too is I want to see, if we could after that get some, EVP, somebody making fun of me, calling me Batman or something, that would be really really cool and a really cool piece of evidence. Now, the thing is, we did the last time we were there, we did the 2 nights, so it's you can just imagine how much evidence, 46 hours and multiple things running. So I still haven't gone with private investigations and things that end up taking priority. I haven't gone through all that. Yet, so I still have to plow through it. But it's been very, very interesting. So I'd say Tracy and I at least through that section experience claim to also be Batman. So there's 2 of us there laying claim to that. Before we come up onto the break here, though. I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say that evidence from South Pittsburgh, it just looks endless. I don't think I'm ever going to get through all of it. Doesn't it?
Well, yeah. I view this as, and I truly hope these areas are open, for a very long period of time, but I also view this as, and I've told some of my team members, just even if we hang on to the evidence on the historical things and still do the research, there's a good window right now where you have the opportunity to get in here and investigate these places. I look back on, asylums are my favorite thing, and I look back on how many Kirkbride buildings have been knocked down that, maybe somebody did get in there to do something, maybe somebody didn't, but, that window's gone now for those locations now. I hear a place I would have loved to have done. I'm originally from north of Philadelphia. Byberry Hospital, I would have loved to have gotten in there. Although there's enough stories about things that went on, afterwards where that place was abandoned. It might have been more dangerous than some other locations. But, I hear stories, they put a housing development there now on the site, and that, they're having all kinds of experiences. So, it doesn't mean that it's going to necessarily go away, but being able to kind of piece the pieces together, which is another thing that personally interests me on all this, is, whatever is behind the phenomenon, the spirits, and, people have different theories as to what that is, but there's obviously some reason why they're still here. And being able to piece that all together, and particularly in these hospital situations where I just think it's really tragic, particularly on the asylum things, what happened to some of these people of just kind of getting dropped off and lost. If there's any kind of story to pick up from that, I think it's just an interesting thing to do. So
Absolutely.
So, but
that's where my personal attachment comes in too. I mean, or my personal reasons rather. It's almost just like this emotional attachment, to them. And just to help them. They don't deserve to feel that way. And
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's good break time here. So I'm going to quick play a song and let anyone who needs to take any type of break, smoke break, bio break, whatever. I always need to get a refill on my drink. And this song's about 4.5 minutes, so we'll be back. And then a couple things coming up in the second hour. We definitely want to hit those other audio clips you sent in. Do have a couple more questions about South Pittsburgh. Just kind of curious about your experiences there. And then I did want to talk a little bit about, we've had a lot of discussions here regarding energy and kind of the impacts of energy on things. And wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the crystal work and your thoughts on that as well. So we'll be back in about 4 minutes.
Depression is a way of life. Saints of a sucker. Welcome to the underworld. I start where nightmares end. 2 for the price of 1. 2 for the price of 1. Abnormal outside, he's evil inside. I'm Dr. Jekyll and he's Mr. Hyde. I tried to be true, he tried to be cruel. I'll hold you gently, but he'll smother you. My clothes will impress you, and my claws will undress you.
Greetings, Earthlings. This is Captain Zorlog of the Carnathian Empire, and you're listening to Sunday Night Dead, a show we consider marginally adequate, and Matthew Slozer, a host we do not, but at least he's better than Vincent.
And we're back.
Oh my
Tracy,
God!
John and Kimber, you all here? Sorry, Tracy?
I said that was hilarious.
Yeah, and I don't have a real ringing endorsement from the Carnathian Empire, but they haven't destroyed us yet. So I guess they like us better than the orbs do. So
That's great.
So anyway, so yeah, I was curious about just so obviously we had some similar experiences at that crosswalk at South Pittsburgh, but just because when George is on, we always talk about at Trans-Allegheny, the geriatrics ward, and how that's kind of his the spot that kind of bothers him the most. For me, it is really the third floor on South Pittsburgh. There's just something about it, plus some experiences I had there. But before I get into any of those, to just kind of bias, because I'm kind of curious, what were your, because you mentioned the third floor, so I'm just kind of curious as to what were some of your experiences on the third floor of South Pittsburgh.
When we first walked up there, it was one of the first places we went. It was an absolute immediate, like, kind of uneasy feeling. And I tried to shake it off just with being an unfamiliar place, but it didn't go away the whole time we were there. We were up there with Doug doing the blindfold thing, and I think, like, with me, it was more of a feeling. As far as experience, we did hear a baby crying. It was really odd.
Oh, wow. One thing that happened that kind of took us all, because for those of you that haven't been there or anything, Doug is the one of the operators of South Pittsburgh. He's it's him and his wife Cindy. Well, we had the opportunity to do some investigating with him up on the third floor, and as we entered the third floor, me and Doug were leading up front, and as we go to walk in, the doorstop, which is a normal wooden, just a wooden wedge keeping the door shut, just completely gave way right as we went to enter.
It caught him off guard.
And it even caught Doug off guard that that happened, because he said that never happens. And we actually got some very interesting audio at that point. What did it say again?
It was referred to him that he'll help them, and it was something relevant to that one I got to work on more, but it was something because I actually sent it to him too, and he's having somebody work on it. It was something relevant to not wanting us up there. Absolutely.
Right. And like you were saying, the third floor is just, it appears to be one of the most active areas there. We have a video recording where we were just pointing the camera down the hallway, and the camera sits there for a good...
it's 11 minutes.
11 minutes. And at the about 11-minute mark, it just completely falls forward. And it sits there for probably about another 3 minutes, and then it falls even more forward. Just completely out of the blue. Doesn't move for 11 minutes, and then it just kind of goes batshit crazy.
Kind of an unnatural movement, too.
Very interesting. Now, any other, just gotta get, were you in the operating suite at all?
Not really. We didn't spend a lot of time down in that area. And to answer Melissa's question, that was going right as you enter the stairwell, enter the third floor from the stairwell. It was going right into the entranceway to the third floor where the door was shut on us. But no, actually, we did one little experiment in the operating suite that Doug told us to do. With one of us walking away and the other one staying there, and the one that was walking away had to turn around and say, "Aren't you coming?" And then the one that was standing there was supposed to say, "I'm not sure." And they were supposed to interact. I don't think we got anything off of that, but that was about the extent of the amount of time we stayed. We hung out down in the rooms area the longest. I mean, we did we did a lot of EVP work down in the
by Irene and Nellie.
Irene and Nellie, those two, I think those are two of the resident spirits that hang out down there in those like dorm room type things.
Gotcha. The reason why I was curious is, and we've actually. With George, we did a dual spirit box session actually in the one operating room. That's where I've had the most experience. There is something in the operating room that does not like me. When we're doing the spirit box thing, it seemed like we were picking up two not particularly nice, I'm not going to say necessarily negative, just could be a bad person type things. One in the OR suite, and then one over on that end where Irene and Nellie's room is. And so it was pretty interesting. So I was just kind of curious. I wanted to see if you had any similar experiences there. But
and where did that happen you at?
The operating rooms.
Oh, okay.
The first two times we were at South Pittsburgh, it was OR2. And then this last time we were here, OR2 was actually dead, and it was in OR3. But I'll tell you quick the story. The first time we were there, we heard the story of the possible pedophile up on the third floor and some of the weird things that people were reporting. And we were in the operating room, and it appeared. I mean, again, I don't know for sure, but it just appeared that we were possibly talking to the entity Casey, the child in the OR.
Okay.
And then the best way I can describe it is the whole atmosphere in the room changed. I don't know how to describe it unless you've been. So I know you will understand this, but if you haven't been investigating, it's hard to explain how you just, the room will have a feel, and then all of a sudden the room just totally changes its feeling. And I said at the time, I've learned from my mistakes, but I said at the time that if this is the entity that hurts children, we're not interested in talking to you. Well, almost immediately after that, I started feeling really sick and did not feel good at all. We did the long drive, same thing. So it was that's why we went to the 2 nights, because our first night was we felt lousy because of the drive. So we I finally decided, and I never, anyone that investigates me know I'm psycho. I barely take a break to use the bathroom. I want to try to gather data every minute that I'm in there. So I actually stopped to go lay down. So I felt pretty lousy. So I go and lay down, and not long after I lay down, the bed that I'm in starts shaking, and it's not like the It's not like The Exorcist, so it's not like the things rattling hard or anything. But it's enough for me to feel it. And then entities. I have a shaved head, and I've always joked around with this. Entities, for some reason, like to touch my head. I mean, I get all kinds. I get smacked on the head. I get patted on the head. I get all kinds of things around me. So something starts patting me on the head, and the bed's shaking. So I'm like, okay, crap. I'm not going to get any rest anyway. I might as well go back and start investigating. And so that's when, if you haven't been there, it's hard to describe exactly how dark this place is. But that difference was kind of sunset to full sundown, and they didn't have all the windows blacked out yet when we were there this time. But I get out in the hallway, and it's just, pitch black. And I'm like, okay, this is really creepy. So I go back to investigating on the third floor, and I was getting the weirdest thing. Like the meters were all pegging, and so didn't seem like we were getting anything. I was still feeling lousy. I'll add, because I know there's a lot of controversy on this. We don't use flashlights as our primary thing, but I will go ahead and have them along with the other meters and things just to see if it links up with other things we get. So again, I take this for what it is. But we did have, so the meters were on, the flashlights would be on. So I finally, and I'm still feeling sick, so I say, I'll make a deal with you. If you leave me alone, I won't go back into the OR the rest of the time. If this is acceptable, turn the light off when I count to 3. Counted to 3, light went off, the meter stopped pegging, I stopped feeling sick, and so whenever I got near the OR suite on the 3rd floor, I would, announce very loudly that, I'm going to honor our deal here. I'm not going in there, kind of deal. And so that was it. So second time we're there, we go up because that kind of viewed that deal as just for that investigation. So we went into OR2, and we were picking up growling in there. Not a whole lot of audio. I didn't have the same effects of feeling sick or anything, but picking up growling sounds. And one of the sensitives in our group said, don't. I was pondering the idea of, which now in hindsight was stupid, and the feeling that it is up there. I never probably would have been able to do it anyway. But I was considering actually staying in that room. There would have been somebody else on the floor. There would have been somebody else on the floor. I would. There's no way in hell I'd be up on that floor by myself. But I was considering. There was a bed in there, so I was considering bringing my sleeping bag up there and staying in there. But I wanted the sensitive to get her feel on that area too, and she pulled me aside and said, by absolutely no way do you go in there alone. She was picking up kind of bad vibes, and that this thing wanted me in there alone. So didn't do it. Anyway, so that intrigued me enough that we did the dual spirit box with George back in May when we were back here. And it left me alone at this point. It was picking on another member of my team. And he had some personal, it was kind of the anniversary of something personal to him. Actually, George was getting things related to that event coming through to him. And then something about being hydrated or drinking. So my team member went ahead and he was also kind of picturing just something in the corner of the OR. So he drinks water. The minute he drinks the water, this thing must have done something with him because he starts feeling very, very sick. Sick enough that he had to leave and go downstairs. He's downstairs. Anyone who's heard the dual spirit box sessions with George, he has Amanda, Colette, and Gabriel come through, and it is amazing to actually hear. You'll hear their voices, they'll say their names, and it's the same voices every time that come through. But they also have Michael the Archangel, is part of this. Well, they start kind of calling for Michael at this point, and then all of a sudden the EVPs that start coming through are totally different. That's when this thing's starting to say, no, it's my it's my brother over in Nellie's room. Not to that much detail, but I mean that was kind of where
Right.
where it was hinting towards. So I don't know what's up there, but it's certainly an interesting.
It's definitely a different feel up there.
Yeah, like I said, it ranks. Not that I've been to all the places, but I've been to a lot of different places, and it's my number one. I ask people a lot. I'll probably ask you this, so it gives you a little time to think. If they had to be, of all the places you've been, if you had to be stuck in a place overnight by yourself, what would be the last place you'd want to be stuck? And for me, it's the third floor in South Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Bobby Mackey's, I think.
In the basement.
Yeah. That place was crazy.
Specifically in the basement.
What was it? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to ask you. I was just going to ask you what was it like there? I've never been there, and we actually haven't talked about Bobby Mackey's on the show before. So
it's
hard to describe.
Yeah.
When you're up in because you're doing a dual two-part investigation really. You're spending you're doing 6 hours, 3 of it up top in the actual bar, dance room. You can go up to the
catwalk.
The catwalk. Yeah, we like catwalks apparently. And up there, you get a much different feel of the place. The spirits are actually most of the time, as long as
they're very interactive.
Very interactive. Dominic actually got scratched across the face upstairs in the apartment. We have pictures of it. I'm not sure. I didn't get the whole story of because he tried to go into an area that the spirit's very protective of this closet. I'm not sure if he asked permission or if he didn't ask permission. I'm not going to tell his story, but I mean that was about the worst that we got up in that area. The basement, however, is a completely different feeling. You walk in that basement and it's nothing but, like you were saying earlier, when that room changes on a dime,
Right.
When that room changes on a dime and you're no longer comfortable, I don't think there's a single place you can be comfortable in this basement.
No. I got as far as Johanna's room. I mean, I didn't go back by the well to investigate. When we took the tour back there with Wanda, I just it was past my comfort level, absolutely. In 6 hours, I mean, that's nothing to make a determination. I can just go on based on what my feelings were there. And we were in the room of faces, and just absolutely overcome with this rage. And somebody else had already been taken out by Wanda. And John and Patrick were messing around with the EMS because they were going off like crazy. And I knew when it got directed at him, and that's when I left for a while. But they had a ball in there. I guess there's a lot of little kids in there. And this thing just like totally defies gravity. It's crazy.
That avoids me to get up into as well. But yeah, I'd have to say the same for me as far as the last place I would want to be stuck. It'd probably be Bobby Mackey's basement. I mean, we haven't really. There was a private residence I wouldn't want to stay in alone. That private residence was probably the root of everything that goes wrong in our life today.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So that place, I definitely would not want to be stuck alone.
No.
As far as actual, historical location, Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah.
So just to kind of elaborate on that, again, realizing that, confidentiality is key here, that this just sounds, what you said about, the root of all the bad things that happen, that sounds similar to some other stories we've heard on here from teams and things. So was this something that you would consider a negative or possibly even inhuman type?
Our determination was probably inhuman, but like lower class, but enough to just, it just caused chaos in your life. It was a home of a pastor, they called us, and this is kind of the basis of the seminars we're going to be starting. We thought we were prepared, and we made every mistake you probably could. And that got me really, that's what I focus on for our group is just entities of that nature, just to keep us safe. And the information, it's just overwhelming.
But yeah,
well, what are some things? Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
No. You're fine. Go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to ask, obviously, without going into the whole things of your seminar, but I do want to hear about what you're doing with us as well. Any kind of high points to get out there for? Because we have a lot of investigators and teams that listen to the show. You said you made every mistake in the book. Any kind of lesson learned that you feel would be important to share?
Overall, what we did is went back and confronted it one-on-one, and you're going to lose. You can't do that. And it was just this typical textbook scenario, just play on your vulnerabilities. And by the time we got back there for our third investigation, it became personal, and you can't do that. Like I said, because you're going to lose. And what it did was play on my anger with some of the audio that I heard. And when I went back there, it wasn't even almost about the investigation anymore. I just confronted whatever was down there about what it said. It got very, very personal with all three of us by name, by names that weren't spoken down there. It said some really nasty things to me. And when we went back, I was very angry, and it was almost like uncontrollable, But, yeah, it's just too strong to take on by yourself. And, but you learn, It's all a learning process. I would hope none would have to learn that way. You just need to really, really educate yourself before, anybody would even think about getting into this.
You have the classical warning signs.
It's dangerous. People don't realize how dangerous it is on so many levels.
And we're talking about the highest level there is, you talk about your immortal soul here,
Right.
The things, the things that, just like Kimberly was saying, the taunting, not us to, well, yeah, we had challenged it on a level that we never should have, but at the same time, it had challenged us, and we had answered, and that's where we went wrong.
And put us into that position, right, and we did exactly what it wanted us to do.
Right. It wanted us to get personal so we would let it in. And we made the mistake of doing that, and now, but because of that, not only has our faith grown, and when I say faith, don't get me wrong, yes, I am a Christian. We both are. But when we say faith, we mean of any style.
Higher power, right?
We firmly believe everyone has every right. If you're a pagan, a Wiccan, a Buddhist, no one's wrong. As long as you believe that there's something else, as long as whether it's the universe,
especially
God,
doing this, just some kind of higher power you turn to protect you.
And it did. It brought us closer to our faith. It's brought us to the point where we've had nothing more than just our faith to rely on.
Right.
And it's seen us through every time. Our higher power, our faith has seen us through every time, and you can't deny the evidence that there are bad things in this world. And if you acknowledge the bad things, I don't know how you can not acknowledge the good things as well.
And try and focus on those more.
Right.
It's a harder way to go, but.
Tracy, any thoughts on this? I have to say we've talked about this general issue on the show before, and a lot of the patterns seem to be very similar.
Well, no, my big question to them was going to be that if they have some kind of protection ritual or whatever they conduct before an investigation.
Absolutely. We do shielding exercises. We do our prayers. We carry black tourmaline. We carry hematite. I also carry amethyst, just for protection. I mean, that's another thing I constantly research, just ways to protect us. And then when we leave, we say our closing prayers, the "You Stay Here" prayers. And
right.
We cleanse our equipment and cleanse ourselves. I mean, and you can take every precaution you want to, and ultimately, if something wants to, it's going to follow you. We hear different voices and so forth, but I mean, I believe if we leave like that, at least the chances of it being something bad are lower,
Yeah.
I mean, we're still dealing with something that nobody really, understands.
Absolutely. You said it was just it's you and John, and you have one other team member?
Yes, right, Mark. And sometimes I'm not.
And all three of you do this prior to the investigation?
Yes, always. And the one place we do, he asks us to bring guests there a lot, or he'll have guests, that he'll want us to take around. And, all three of us do it, and we invite them to do it, or at least to take some form of protection, like John said, for anything, for their higher power, just to, and if they don't want to, that's on them.
Right.
We highly encourage it.
Yeah, that's what my question was going to be. If you were to, let's just say you go back to the Pittsburgh hospital there, and you go with another team, and you guys decide that you go ahead and do your normal protection stuff, and you don't see them doing it. Do you say anything to them, or you just don't say anything and let them go?
Into it, I might casually ask, do you do anything to protect yourself before you go in? And, and if you're there with another group, they're all adults, and but absolutely, I would say something, because what if it was a group that wasn't that educated,
Yeah, that definitely plays a big part into it. If we're going with another team that has little to no experience, we've like Kimberly was saying, the place she was talking about, it's called Madison Seminary. We're actually pretty good friends with the owner, and he calls us when he's unable to, when he has a group coming in and he's unable to stay there the whole night. He'll call us and be like, "Hey guys, I know it's last minute. Can you guys come and watch the place for me? I got a group coming in." Like, sure. And probably 7 out of the 10 times we've done it so far, it has been a fairly new group. It has been a group that doesn't have a lot of time under their belt, and we'll do our best. Like Kimberly said, they're all adults. They're going to do what they want to do, but we'll do our best to almost, I don't want to say mentor, but just share,
encourage,
share our experience.
Especially when it comes to somebody's safety. I mean, we know how dangerous this can be and what it can do to your life when you're not doing this. Because it becomes part of your whole life, whether you want it to or not. And, I would encourage something to keep them safe. Like I said, without pushing, any personal. I mean, we would never do that.
Right.
But yes, I mean, people's safety highly concerns me. It really does.
Well, I think, just kind of throwing my theory in on all this, that like John, I think you mentioned earlier that if they're around, they can still find you, so to speak. And I kind of always use the analogy of kind of sharks in the ocean. You could be out.
Yeah.
It's on everybody's mind, and you may never see one, but it doesn't mean they're not there. And what I personally believe with the one of the things, and I mean it's my opinion, and that's about all it's worth. But my theory on this is the whole faith piece. Regardless of what you're believing in, the stronger your faith and your belief that there is something and your belief kind of in the positive, that makes you energy-wise less vulnerable or less attractive. Again, you mentioned earlier, Kimber, that they prey on weaknesses, and so they're going to go for, in general, easier targets over other targets. So if there's already somebody with a certain weakness or certain thing that they can exploit, that's what they're going to try to do. And if they can suck other people in, like they sucked you in on the confrontation, then that's all the better. But they're going to start with somewhere where they have a foothold, and that's that's where I think some of the faith piece ties in. I also see that you guys are having the same problem in the chat room that I have. That's why I have this funny number behind me. Is I'm getting booted, so hopefully nobody else there is having trouble. But just in case, I've been gone for a while, so I haven't. You guys probably have never heard this, but we have problems with the orbs, and this is a long story going back to the second show I've ever done, where I offended the orb community, and so I just got to find it here. We do this as dumb as it sounds. I give the orbs their due, and our tech issues tend to get better. So no guarantee, but so we'll keep talking here, but I'll just interrupt when I find it here. Got a lot of different monster clips to go through here. I know we also want to get to your audio as well, but you did mention the minerals and the crystals, and so I'm kind of curious as to your thoughts all on that, because, oh, hang on, here it is. Here we go. We'll give the orbs their time, and hopefully we do better on the chat room. So, out of
wow.
Orbs. Give the orbs their piece, and sometimes they pick at us, and they attack us, and so the orbs don't really like me. But anyway, kind of just curious of your thoughts, because we've talked before on this, and I'm I firmly believe in this whole interrelation between the spiritual and energy, and then kind of the physical, and so I'm kind of curious as to your thoughts and the dealings with the crystals and the minerals that you've done research on. So I'll let you go ahead and explain that a little bit.
Our main goal is to tie the investigating seminars and the jewelry that we make all in with one thing, and believe it or not, it does tie in. But when we make the jewelry, right now we have 3 power. They're called power stones that they use. It's hematite, black tourmaline, and amethyst. And any of these that anybody wears, I carry them for protection. I believe they're going to protect me. It's all about intent, just like cleansing. We can go to a resident's home and have them cleanse the home while we're right there. They got to live there. It's got to come from them. They got to take their territory back too. It's just all about intent. And the reason I use all 3 of these is all 3 of these are powerful protection against darker energies, more negative energies. Not necessarily bad, but just more negative energies. So,
any differences between the 3, or any?
The hematite actually has like proven medical advantages too, but the hematite will it will just balance the whole mind, body, and spirit. It'll dissolve negativity. The black tourmaline is actually the strongest against all of these. It's real powerful against like black magic, curses, stuff like that. The same thing with the amethyst. That is that's also against like black magic. And all of these also, especially the hematite, is supposed to expand the higher mind, your higher consciousness, open up that perception more. Turquoise is another one. Turquoise is just an anti-negativity stone. I mean, before things really started to get crazy in our house, we would just cleanse every now and then with white sage. It doesn't mean that there's anything bad there, just getting any kind of negative energy out of there, and then burn sweetgrass, braided sweetgrass, because it's more powerful with the 3, or dragon's blood incense. and that brings in all positive energies. And, you know, if you believe this stuff's going to work, I mean, we felt better. We feel better after we do that.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the
It's all about your
things,
intention, you know?
Yeah, the intent and the belief. If you don't believe it's going to work,
Exactly.
it's not going to, no matter what.
Exactly.
Interesting thing, though, is the hematite is magnetic, right?
You can get it magnetic or non-magnetic. It's
Okay.
not actually magnetic until they heat it.
Yeah, it's the hematite, the magnetic hematite, or magnetite, it's also called. It's actually, speaking from a geological point of view, it's not pure hematite,
Right.
because it's been altered. It's been ground and then superheated and super compressed, and that's what gives it its magnetic properties.
Okay.
But I use both of them, you know.
Well, yeah, I was just kind of thinking, you know, magnetic fields are, again, energy as well. And, again, kind of curious of the whole reaction there. Could that be, you know...
Well, we always have a lot of hematite here, and we've had some strange experiences with it, I swear.
Yeah, we...
I mean, I believe, I know, like, the black tourmaline, a lot of, like, psychics and stuff carry that to protect themselves. And I really do like that, but the hematite, it's definitely got some powerful qualities to it. And I think you're right with the magnetic. I really do. I think that plays a big part in it. I mean,
so everyone goes, you know, and I'm far from a, you know, physicist or anything on this, but, you know, I know some people immediately jump towards, you know, when we talk about these things that, you know, we're kind of doing hocus-pocus mythology type things, but I really think there could be something to do with, again, we're talking about energy, and energy interacts with materials in different ways, and so, you know,
Exactly.
Do we understand it? No, but, you know, it's more than just, this is my lucky charm. It's, you know,
oh, absolutely.
Interplay between, you know, materials and the energy out there, and...
Exactly. Well, just like anything else that, you know, that going on in an investigation, take Bobby Mackey's, for instance, limestone, the river right behind us, the railroad tracks right behind us, you know, that all plays a part. The day before or after a full or new moon, the energy is so high that has to play some part. It really does.
Oh, definitely. I think, you know, just the ability to feed off of energy, and I think, you know, that's part of the whole running water piece as well. It's just my opinion, but
we did
I'm going to go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. No, are you going to?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead, quick.
I was just going to say that we did a private residence where we came up with a determination because there was so much different stuff in and out of there that it was actually the creek behind there, and when it rained. Go ahead, you can finish explaining that because you're the one that figured that out.
Oh, just the fact that it was right off a creek, and I'm sorry, hold on, we're situated. The running water thing, it almost in the theory we came up with is that it creates so much energy it can almost be used as a spiritual highway of sorts, where they can travel, and you'll get spirits that kind of come and go, right, with the ebb and the flow of the river. Like when it rains, it'll bring the river down. It'll bring the water down, and spirits can actually, because of the energy that it creates, they can actually almost hop a ride on this spiritual highway, and that's why this home was having so much activity. But it wouldn't last.
So many different ones, right?
Right. It wouldn't always be the same thing. It would always be different things going on here and there. It was so sporadic that we almost had to come up with a whole new theory of why this was taking place. And the biggest point to this place was it was right off of when it rained, decent-sized form of water. You know, so that's just where we went with that one. But go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm just gonna add to that. Then it's kind of interesting. I'm going to start following this closer. I've talked about this on the show before. That I have some odd things happen in the house we moved into, but it's all on one side of the house that I have these things kind of happen, and it just So it happens to be that that side of the house is right next to a creek, so I'm gonna pay attention now to see if because it's hit or miss when it happens. It's not something that's all the time, and it certainly could also be related to my investigating. I could just have something tagging around me, but I'll definitely pay attention to that. Yeah, it is weird. It's like all floors, but on the one side of the house. What I was going to do is just quick get into. I do want to get these clips before we run out of time here. So I'll just go. I'm going to play kind of the raw footage first, and then I'll play the ones where you have it slowed down at parts. But if you can just again, I know it's a private location, so just to the extent that you can set this up, the first one, the undisclosed one.
This one's real quick. We were doing nothing. We had just got there. John and Mark and the other, nobody knew I even set the voice recorder down, and that's what was so interesting about it. We didn't even have our equipment on the bags yet.
The location is just a family home, small. It's a large.
Only 5 years old. It's new development.
Yeah, it's a brand new home. So we kind of went in the area of more of a not residual, but more of an attachment to the land.
But it tells an interesting story that we're still working on.
Yeah. So, but that's pretty much. As far as like you said, confidentiality. That's as far as we'd like to go with it. So, if you want to go ahead.
Yeah. No problem. The voices here. How many are people speaking?
You'll hear during it. You'll hear Mark. You'll hear
me in the
Kimberly. At some point, you'll hear, at the very beginning, you'll hear me say, I can't do that.
Right.
Because Mark has some amazing ability to whistle. And it just so happened the family had a bird that he was interacting with whistling. And you'll hear me at the very beginning say, I can't do that. And that's the extent of me speaking. But you'll hear Mark and Kimberly at one point in time as well. But you'll be able to differentiate.
Yeah, you can distinguish them
pretty easily which voices are ours.
Okay, well, here we go. Again, any feedback from the chat room as far as volume will be appreciated. Here we go.
How much I can do that?
Sure.
Okay, after John spoke, none of those voices were us.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
Yeah.
So that's good. And how about that tapping noise? Is that you guys working, or is that?
Oh yeah, that was all that's all me getting things set up, all those different things.
That second one sounds like a British accent.
Okay, so these all the voices again, just to be clear, all the voices after he says I can't do that are not people in the room. Okay, here we go. We're gonna play it again.
How much I can do that?
Sure.
So I hear three. I hear kind of like a yes you are, a thanks, and then I can't make out the third one. What were you picking out there?
What was the third one?
Hold on a second. Let me
Just pull up the email.
Yeah, we just had this up here a second ago. The first one that we came to the conclusion on the first one that it's almost, the childlike voice, is that the first one you're talking about?
Yeah. So
yes, it sounded almost like a yes you are or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we kind of got the feel that I was saying, is she what?
Like, is she what?
Yeah, it doesn't make much sense grammatically, but it that's the best that we could come up with from it.
Okay. How about the third
And
phrase?
the second one was a thank you. That almost sounded like an accent.
Okay. All right, I'm going to play it one more time, then we're going to go to the one where you actually have parts of it slowed down.
Okay.
How much I can do that?
Sure.
All right, I make out all of what you're saying there. I make out the accent. Is the possible, I'm going to do it one more time here, is the possible third one a you're welcome?
Say that once more?
One more time. I almost picked up another, like a "You're welcome" with an accent, but again, this is on a phone. Hard to pick up, but let's hear.
Right.
How would I do that?
Wow.
My 2 cents is it's a soft "You're welcome."
I heard that. That is awesome.
Now I'm going to play the one that you slowed down. I got to be honest. This is one of the reasons why I wanted the raw footage on this. I had a much harder time making it out with the altered one. But again, it's always harder when you don't know the background behind what you should be hearing versus it. So I'm going to go ahead and play this. But I'm curious for my own reason if I can make this out better. Haven't heard the raw. Here we go.
How would I do that?
Now,
I can make it all up. I can make it all out, but the third one. Yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying there with the issue what. Heard the thank you. Had a hard time hearing.
Hear, but there's no witnesses?
No, I didn't hear that. Where does that come in at?
It's right after issue what? It's a whisper. It's not a voice. It says, but there's no witnesses.
Yeah, that one's a little bit tougher to kind of distinguish. You know how there are different. I mean, the three that you're hearing the most, those are your complete. In my personal opinion, those are your complete voices. The other ones that we sent you in the email, they're more lower class.
Right.
Lower class.
And after the thank you, it sounds to us like I think they think she went to school. There's another voice right after that, but I still, even in the slow one, I still hear that. You're welcome. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I turn this up. So warning for anyone, particularly if you got the headphones on or anything, I turn the volume up on this. Don't want to blow your ears up, particularly with the bird making noise there. We'll go ahead and play this one again.
How would I do that?
I hear something else between the thank you and the you're welcome. I can't make it out, but to me it has. And again, it's hard to pick up context or intent. It sounds creepier to me than the other ones.
Yeah, you're right. It does.
It has a kind of, we'll just go ahead and hit this. There's just something, that one has a different tone to it than the other one. So go ahead and one more time here, and then we'll get to the second one.
How would I do that?
Yeah, that one's got some, give me a little bit of chills. Melissa says she heard school in it, so I'll go back and hear now. Well, before I do the follow-up questions on this, let's jump right to the second one here.
Okay.
So I'm just going to go ahead and play it, and then you can tell me whose voices belong there and who are extra voices that we're picking up here. So here we go. This is the raw clip. So now, is that right after? That's shortly after the first one, correct?
We just clipped the piece in between because it disclosed where we were.
Okay.
And that one, I think that's just Mark and I whistling with the bird, isn't it?
You know what? It's really hard. It's really because
I can't hear the quieter part over the phone.
The phone's really kind of throwing
I mean, if you can pull it up in there real quick.
Go ahead, keep talking. I'm going to do some stuff over here.
I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to turn it up again. And just so you know, I know you sent me what was in it. I deliberately do not look at that up front, and I just try to see what I can pick out before I look at it. So I do not have that. I do not have that in front of me, just so you know. But here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and play it again. I did turn the volume up here, so everybody ready with the bird whistling. This one is much harder to hear. I hear what's possibly a lower voice in the front part and a whisper towards the end. Let's jump right to the
yeah, I think on this
that's
one's a little better.
Here we go. All right, I'm having a hard time with this one, so go ahead and but again, I'm on a phone, so others out there might be able to be picking this up better than me. Go ahead and tell us what you're making out on this, and I'll go ahead and replay it.
Pull the email back up. The first thing we heard was "Goodbye, kid," and then "Why didn't she call?" And the third thing says, "You're a bitch." And they say it really snotty. And then it says, like, "Yeah, that's me," or "That's you," or something like that. But the "Goodbye, kids" is what really kind of bothered us when it tied in with other audio and spirit box session we had there also. We were downstairs, and I love the spirit box, my favorite piece of equipment. And we have it on reverse, and we have it at the highest sweep rate. And in the same voice, we heard murder, Kim, John. Then in a different voice, we heard Mark, help.
Oh, wow.
And then when you look at this other audio, but there's no witnesses, goodbye, kids, the school thing, it's just we're really trying to figure this out, and we do have plans to go back just to see, what's going on there. But it's almost like somebody's trying to get a message across.
Yeah, absolutely.
Either that, or,
I'm going to go ahead.
you're hearing residual,
Exactly.
What's going on is going to take a little more investigating, but, just the crystal clear voices on there just blew my mind, especially since we weren't even doing anything. But that's usually when you get your best EVP.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyone kind of new or doing this, make sure run your audio as long as you can. Or at least have one of your recorders going the whole time, because you never know what you're going to get.
When we investigate now, we usually don't go through the normal questioning. We just have almost normal conversation, and it's the stuff we get is crazy. You just have to start giving them opportunities to interject. And we've done it in our house a million times, and they are just totally interjecting in our conversation.
I have the strangest feeling here. I'm not going to be able to get this because our computer's going really slowly right now. That's the strangest feeling. I'm not going to be able to get this up in time to expand that.
With my memory, but I do believe the second one there wasn't. I don't think we're talking in that. Feel free to do whatever you want with it, and then email me back to see what you got.
Sounds good. I'm going to play it one more time here, and there is just with the phone, and I have trouble with it. I'm not going to be able to get that out, but
feel free to take them, and I would love to see what you get.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we are rapidly running out of time here, and I always got to add, it's always a sign of a good show when the show wraps up, and I still have things I would like to ask and talk to you about. So we'd love to have you back on a future show.
Awesome.
It
seems like we're doing a lot of the same things.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the show was to just kind of help us all build upon the common body of work here and see what some of our experiences or different experiences we have, and kind of work together for that, as well as for those who do not investigate but are just interested in the field to hear what's going on. So,
absolutely.
So I I really, really appreciate you guys coming on, and again, we'd
Thank
love
you.
to have you back on in the future.
Absolutely,
Ladies.
anytime.
Yes, thank you, Matt. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so quiet at the end here. I just
He was trying to pull that EVP up on the computer, but...
yeah.
No
right.
problem at all. So,
All right.
thank
Talk to you guys later.
you.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye, Matt.
Bye.
Bye, Tracy.
Tracy, you got any big Thanksgiving plans?
Unfortunately, because of where I work, there are no holidays at the Holiday Inn, so I'm pretty much working.
Oh,
Well, that, lack of a better word, that sucks. But
but that's all right. You
Well,
know, I'm one type of guys that I'd rather let my employees work. I'm sorry, let my employees off than, and I can always have Thanksgiving on Friday, Wednesday, Saturday.
very, very true. Well, next week I hope to. I'm going to put a little asterisk on this because it's dependent on how much I can get reviewed and cut down before Sunday. So I'll let you all know mid to late week. But I'll plan on doing at least the first set of the Kerr City review. So we had a lot from the first investigation, so at least start kind of going through that, and then we'll kind of dive into what happened the second time we're there because it was a very, very interesting experience, and as George will, I'm sure, vouch for me on this, very, very interesting place and very, very unique experiences. So everyone from the folks at Sunday Night Dead have a very, very happy Thanksgiving and a very safe holiday and Black Friday shopping spree. I always stay home. And we will see you all on Sunday. Good night, everyone.
Good night.